Is LSU entering a trap? The Tigers are coming off of a resounding series victory over top 10 Tennessee. However, the Tigers, who are now the number 2 team in the country, will travel to College Station, Texas to take on the Texas A&M Aggies at Blue Bell Park. I'm going to explain to you why this is a trap series for LSU and what to expect out of the series in the first ever episode of Go Time. Stay tuned after this message.
You can make a difference here at the Voice of College Football. Use the Amazon link. Financially contribute to the Voice of College Football without spending a penny. Same shopping experience. It's easy. Go to any video on any channel. Go to the description section and grab the link right next to the capital letters that say Amazon. Use that link and Amazon will instantaneously convert to your account, settings, history, everything intact, just like whatever link you use right now. No difference. Pay no attention to the product that you see right there. Just go search what you want. Don't forget the Amazon link. Thank you for your support. Sincerely, the Voice of College Football.
And that was the boss man, Mark Rogers, there with the message. Make sure to go support that. But I'm your host, Grant Sashray. This is a new show that we're going to do to kind of discuss quick topics. You know, of course, we have the live show that's being broadcast every Monday. I host that with Zach Genda, who is my co-host and does a great job with his LSU coverage as well. But I also want to create quick videos, in case we have breaking news stories. You know, a guy commits to LSU, a guy decommits, you got transfer portal commits. You know, there's a lot of stuff that happens in the sports world, especially when you're at a place like LSU. So Go Time will allow me or even Zach, if I can't do it, to come on here and discuss a breaking news story. But sometimes we'll also discuss previews and stuff like that, like I'm doing now. LSU right now is the number 2 team in the country. They're coming off, like I said before, at the beginning of the show, they're coming off a huge series victory over Tennessee, and that was a huge win. They'll only further advance LSU's hopes of hosting a super regional. But this week they will have to travel to College Station. Now, yes, I know Texas A&M has had an up and down season. Now they've had a series victory over Tennessee, and they played some good baseball. This will help some players that are returning from last season's national championship run, right? Because last year they went to Omaha, got all the way to the College World Series finals, but they ultimately lost against Tennessee. But after the season, they went through some changes in the baseball inside their program. Of course, I think it's all known now. I mean, really, I think that's the big one, is that their head coach from last year left to become the head coach over at their longtime rival, which is, of course, Texas. And that did not go over so well for the A&M faithful. Of course, Jim Schlossnagle said he would be returning to A&M for the season, but then a couple of days later, it's announced that he will take over the head coaching position at Texas. And of course, Texas is joining the SEC, this season. So that only added more bad blood to this rivalry. And of course, it was always a big time baseball rivalry. But now I think it's even gotten bigger just because you have your head coach leaving you after he just led arguably the most successful season in A&M history. But enter in Michael Early. Michael Early was their hitting coach for the past few seasons. Now he's taking over as the head coach at A&M. And that hiring is really kept. That hiring was made because they wanted to keep the players intact, right? They have a lot of talent on that baseball team. And to keep those players from going away, especially going to arch rival Texas, they had Michael Early, who is very popular with the players. But Michael Early is a first-year head coach, and you knew that A&M was going to struggle a little bit, right? Hence why they are 25-19 and 8-13 in SEC play. And they've been struggling for the most part. I mean, especially on the hitting side. They're 12th in the SEC in batting average and on base percentage, and they're 14th in hits. They've been struggling to hit the ball, but they can still hit the ball effectively. As a team, they've hit 76 home runs, and that's a pretty respectable number, right? They can still hit home runs. They still have some of that hitting. Now, they may not have the home run power they had last year with guys like Braden Montgomery, who was a first round selection by the Boston Red Sox, but they're still a very capable home run hitting team. But their pitch on the other side, their pitching still has some work, right? I mean, while they are 7th in ERA, and that's a pretty respectable number, 4.26 ERA. However, they struggle to strike people out. They are 15th in strikeouts, and they are 11th in home runs allowed. However, they've walked the least amount of batters with 117. That is, like I said, the least in the SEC. So they don't let guys have easy pass to first base, right? They throw a lot of strikes, but they have a problem with keeping people from hitting the baseball, right? So no, they have decent pitching, but they struggle to get people out, to retire batters. But some key members of A&M's baseball team is, of course, we all know his name, Jace Love Violet, right? Jace Love Violet, 291 batting average, a 633 slugging percentage, and a 455 on base percentage. All three of those lead A&M. He's also had 9 doubles, 15 home runs, and 52 RBIs. The home run total and RBI total both lead A&M. You also have Caden Kent, 287 batting average, 524 slugging percentage, and 400 on base percentage. 10 doubles, a triple, 9 home runs, and 41 RBIs. Terrence Kyle is the most effective hitter in terms of, just hitting the ball purely. 329 batting average. That leads A&M. It's a team high on the A&M's team. He also has 10 doubles, a triple, and a home run, and 24 RBIs. He doesn't produce a lot of runs, but because of his hitting ability, he gets on base, and it allows him. And also, he will touch home a lot, right? If you look at his stats, he has 39. He scored 39 runs. Right. So and that is 4th on A&M's team. So because he could get on base effectively, 426 on base percentage. That is 2nd on A&M's team. That people who played over 40 games. So he is extremely effective. You also have Wyatt Hensler. Wyatt Hensler has a 311 batting average, 573 slugging percentage, and he also has a 420 on base percentage, 13 doubles, which is a team high, and he's also at 10 home runs and 31 RBIs. Those are the guys to watch out for. Also, you should watch out for is Caden Sorrell, Ben Royal, and Bear Harrison. All three of those guys have been starting for them as well. As you mentioned, Caden Sorrell has only played in 19 games, but all 19 of those have been starts. He has been highly effective from behind the plate, a 377 batting average. Although I wouldn't say that that's a team high, but also he's played significantly less games for the Aggies. Only, like I said, only 19. But in those 19 games, 26 hits, 5 doubles, a triple, and 9 home runs, and 24 RBIs. Caden Sorrell is a sophomore. And he played a lot last year, but I think he was coming off an injury, which is why he hasn't played as much this season. But since he's been back, he's been awesome for the Aggies. Ben Royal, 300 batting average. So he's been highly effective from behind the plate. He's also had 4 doubles, 8 homers, and 19 RBIs. And Derek Harrison, 290 batting average, 27 hits, 6 doubles, 8 home runs, and 31 RBIs. And LSU had in their report, right? They before every series or before every game, they release a report, but like how the team's doing so far, whatever, like other college sports teams. But they LSU and A&M have released their pitching matchups. Of course, Cade Anderson, who's been your ace for the entire year, he will be starting tonight. He's so far this season 6-1 with a 3.76 ERA, 64.2 innings pitched, 16 walks, and 102 strikeouts. Of course, that leads the team. A&M will be pitching Ryan Prager. Ryan Prager is 2-3 on the year with a 4.04 ERA and is 62.1 innings pitched. He has had 54 strikeouts and 15 walks allowed. In game 2, of course, LSU is going with Anthony Ianson. Ianson is 6-2 on the year with a 3.49 ERA, 59.1 innings pitched, and 59.1 innings pitched. He has had 91 strikeouts and 25 walks. Cade Anderson had, of course, had 11 strikeouts because Tennessee this week. Can he keep it going this week against A&M? I think he can. A&M kind of struggles on the hitting department, but we don't know which A&M team we're going to get this week because they've had an up-down season this year. You also have to watch out for Anthony Ianson. Also, despite the loss, Anthony Ianson pitched a good game. It's just that the LSU's bats couldn't come away with the win in game 2 last week's series against Tennessee. And once he got out, that's when Tennessee really started laying on LSU in a 9-3 victory. But game 3 is going to be interesting, right? Of course, LSU has TBA, so you don't really know who's going to start. But A&M does know who they're going to go with. They're going to go with left-hander Miles Patton. He's 3 for 3 on the year with a 4.84 ERA and in 57.2 innings pitched. He's had 64 strikeouts and has only allowed 12 walks on the year. LSU at game 3, despite them not announcing it, you can only assume it's going to be Case and Evans. But then again, that also depends on if Case and Evans is going to come out of the bullpen. So if you're LSU, you don't want to use the bullpen as much, right? Because you want Case and Evans to take him out, or even Zach Cowan to take them out. You want to save Case and Evans to start off game 3, and then of course you're going to go with that 1-2 punch with Case and Evans and Zach Cowan falling behind him. And the reason why I say that is because number one, you don't want Case and Evans to come out of the bullpen at all because you want them to start game 3, and then also I really like Zach Cowan coming out of the bullpen. He's a veteran. He's experienced. He can go long distances because he's been the starting pitcher in the past. Remember, he was Wofford's ace last season. And, of course, LSU's very familiar with the name Wofford because LSU played Wofford in the Chapel Hill Regional last season. So for game 3, it should be very ideal if you limit the bullpen use as much as possible. Yes, the bullpen is very good for LSU. I like what LSU has out of the bullpen. But you also don't want to use Casey Evans as early in the bullpen as possible because you like to be him to be your game 3 starter. But that's going to be your pitching matchups for A&M for their relief pitchers. For their relievers, they have a few names to watch out for, and I'm going to go over them with you. Of course, a name you want to pay attention to is a name you want to pay attention to is Weston Moss. Weston Moss has a 2.37 ERA on the year. He has appeared in 17 games this year and has even started 2 He's 5-2 on the year, and he's one of the more reliable pitchers that A&M has out of their bullpen. And 38.0 innings pitched. He's only allowed 28 hits, so he's very effective when he comes out of the bullpen. If you have pitched 10 more innings than you've allowed hits, that usually means you're a solid pitcher. He's also had 39 strikeouts, so he's had more. So he's averaged about one strikeout per inning, which is really good. And he also opposing batters have a hard time hitting off of him. A 199 opposing batting average. So he's an outstanding pitcher out of the bullpen, and he's one of the more veteran guys coming out of the bullpen. So watch out for Weston Moss to come out of the bullpen. Another name you should watch out for is Brad Rudis. I almost called him Brady Rudis, but it's Brad Rudis. 3.42 ERA, has appeared in 18 games so far this year. 26.1 innings pitched. He's had 28 strikeouts and has allowed 22 hits and 10 runs, all earned. Caden Wilson, expect to see him a lot, and he's had 18 appearances so far this season for the Aggies, which is the most, along with Brad Rudis out of the bullpen. He in 18.1 innings pitched, he has struck out 26 batters. So he is a very effective coming out of the bullpen. He's also allowed 12 runs, 9 of which were earned off of 14 hits. Another reliable arm coming out of the bullpen for A&M. And you also have to watch it for Caden McCoy. Caden McCoy actually leads the Aggies with 2 saves. He's also had 11 appearances so far this year with a 3-2 record. And his ERA is kind of high. Like, it's 5.40. He's a 5.40 ERA. So relatively high, although I would say he's pitched only in 16.2 innings pitched, which is much lower than the previous 3 guys I mentioned. But 21 strikeouts and 16.2 innings pitched. He's also allowed 10 runs, all earned, off of 12 hits allowed. Clayton Freshcorn. Yes, his last name is Freshcorn. That's pretty cool. That's a baseball name right there. Clayton Freshcorn. That is a hell of a baseball name. But he's appeared in 17 games so far for the Aggies. 5.09 ERA and 17.2 innings pitched, 20 strikeouts, and he's allowed 11 runs, 10 of which were earned off of 16 hits. So he's another guy you should watch it for out of the bullpen as well. But if you notice something too, if you've kind of paid attention to the roster, especially in the pitching matchups, all 3 A&M's pitchers are lefties, and that's something that's very key. If you in this matchup, because LSU has had problems with batting off of left-handed pitchers. Because of that, expect to see LSU go with Ethan Fry. I expect Ethan Fry to start all 3 games, although it won't be in the field. He'll be used as a DH. And Ethan Fry has had a breakout year so far. Ethan Fry is batting .343 from behind the plate with 6 doubles, 8 home runs, and 31 RBIs. He has a .646 slugging percentage and has a .411 on base percentage. And if you look at his stats in the SEC, he hasn't really been effective as much, but I expect to see him start all 3 games as a DH unless he struggles, because once again, Ethan Fry is a left-hander. SEC play, .220 from behind the plate with a double and 2 home runs to go along with 7 RBIs. But his main issue has been, it's been strikeouts. I would say his main issue has been strikeouts, but it's been getting on base. Only a .316 on base percentage, which is second to last among starters who have started 15 games or more in SEC play. The only guy that's worse than him is Stephen Milam. Stephen Milam has been struggling in SEC play with a 195 batting average and a 275 on base percentage, which are both last among starters who played at least 15 games in SEC play. But once again, this game is going to be a trap game for LSU. It is, right? Blue Ballpark is one of the toughest places to play, not only in the SEC, but around the country. And no matter how good or how bad A&M is, that's a really tough environment. I mean, it really is. And if you just, and I know this because look, those same fans that show up to Blue Ball Park are the same fans that show up at Cobb Field. Cobb Field's the same way. Yes, A&M may underperform at home. Yes, A&M is called Texas 8-4 because they underperform every single year of football. But one thing can't be mistaken. Cobb Field is one of the toughest places to play. It's extremely loud. And yes, maybe they don't win as much games at home because the team underperforms. But if you ask anybody, that place is a really tough place to play. And it's no shocker about Blue Ball Park is another tough place to play. I mean, that chant they do, ball 4, ball 4, ball 4, ball 5, ball 5. Like that. I mean, that's a very intimidating place to play for a pitcher when they do that chant. I mean, and look, I'll actually show you this clip right now. Actually, and this is a.
Starts chanting ball 5 after a 4-pitch walk. They'll continue with every subsequent pitch, and they can rattle an opposing pitcher. A young man from Minnesota missed with 11 consecutive pitches before giving up a game-winning triple.
So, yeah, it's a very, very tough place to play, right? And that was a super regional game, right? So I know that may be that may expanded the magnitude of that game. A&M was, I think, leading 1-0 on the bottom of that scoreboard. If you noticed it, not leading, but leading the series 1-0 at the bottom of that scoreboard. But that's what it's going to be like. It's going to be a super regional feel. This is a very important series for A&M if they want to make the tournament, right? They need about 13, 14 wins to make the tournament because you're in that C. A&M's BPI, RPI is going to be really high because they play in the SEC and because how tough this SEC is year in and year out in college baseball. But also got to think about this. The same exact weekend last year, A&M was the number 1 team in the country. LSU was in the mud. They looked like they weren't going to make the tournament, and they needed a big series win over A&M to make the tournament. And LSU ended up taking the first 2 games out of 3 to win that series. And that really catapulted them going into the SEC tournament, because that's when they finally got hot. LSU, and then they won. I think they won 3 out of their next 4 series. And then when they got in the SEC tournament, they advanced all the way to the SEC championship game. People forget last year LSU was almost out of the tournament. They needed that series win over A&M because they were coming off a series win over Auburn, so that was good. But they needed that A&M series to kind of get them over that win threshold. They needed 13 to 14 conference wins, and LSU won against A&M, beat A&M in that series to win 2 out of 3 games. And although the next series you lost to Alabama, you swept Ole Miss. Then you got the SEC tournament. You won 4 straight, including 2 over South Carolina, to advance to the SEC championship, where you nearly defeated the number 1 overall seed Tennessee, who eventually became the national champions. So that really, the A&M series really saved LSU last year, and now it's vice versa for A&M. That is a trap. This is a trap series for LSU. They have to start off hot. They have to win the first game to kind of set the tone for the series, because A&M is desperate. The worst thing to do is to play against a desperate opponent like A&M in a very hostile environment. And A&M's fan base will make this game seem like a super regional feel, despite A&M struggles throughout the whole year, because you're playing a team like LSU, who is the number 2 team in the country right now. LSU is a brand team. No matter where they go, they're going to fill out the stadium because you're LSU. And if you're LSU, you have to start off hot. You have to get the bats going. I trust Cade Anderson and Anthony Ianson to do their thing. However, LSU's bats have to come through. They have to get it going early, because last week against Tennessee, they were down 0-3, and they had to come back to win that game 1. And, of course, they had the 12-2 demolition over Tennessee in game 3. But the crowd's not going to be behind you. The crowd's going to be behind A&M at Blue Bell Park. So you have to get the bats going and consistently throughout the game if you want to win this series. LSU is safe in terms of if they want to advance to the tournament. But if you want to host a regional and a super regional, it starts with the series. You have to win the series. And, of course, you got 2 or 3 more series after this. But you have to avoid a series loss in this one, because yes, you may still host a regional, but it makes it even harder to host a super regional moving forward, because remember, next week you got Arkansas, and that's going to be a very tough series for LSU. But anyway, that's going to wrap up the first episode, Go Time. It went a little bit longer than I wanted to, but that we are talking about a baseball series, and the best way to break it down is I want to keep it under 20 minutes for the future, but I have to explain to you why this is a very tough series for LSU. And we're going to have another episode like this. It's going to be shorter, but this is a very important series for LSU, despite A&M having an up and down season. But I'll see you guys next time. And this is Go Time.